Steam's refund policy is simple. Play a game for less than 2 hours, and if you don't like it, you get your money back. Halo Wars takes an average of 9 hours to beat the main story campaign. I will be attempting to beat missions 1 through 15 on easy difficulty within 2 in-game hours. I made a new Steam account, bought Halo Wars for 20 bucks, and click play. The challenge begins now. The strategy for this mission is simple. Keep moving and don't stop. The only time I will stop is to clear this group of covenants. Once we clear out this covenant from the spot, we will actually get a few warhawks, which will give us extra units to clear out the covenant forces faster. Looking back, I wasn't actually sure if this was an actual time save or not, but during the moment I thought this would save a few seconds. At the last group of covenant units, there are a few marines pinned down here. There's also a small energy force that only marines can get through. I clear out the covenant here and get 5 marines. I sent my marines through the force field as fast as possible. Instead of dealing with the jackals with the marines, I just grenaded the shield generator to let my warhawks push through as quickly as possible. I charge right in and clear out the infantry, since Captain Cutter will clear out the race for us. We got a quick tutorial to get through before we can dive into the real strategy. It starts with building a supply pad, then a barracks to train 5 marines. One thing we can do to save some time here, we can actually build multiple barracks and train multiple marines from those barracks. That way we hit 5 marines faster. Once we got our 5 marines and gather the nearby supplies, the actual strategy begins. The plan is to train about 11 or so marines, charge down the middle, and destroy the detonator. I'll also start building warhawks once my army reaches the objective, since they are the fastest reinforcements we got. To keep my army alive, I'll use a heal and repair, as some units won't be under fire during this moment and can benefit from the heal. I'm not going to focus on any other Covenant units. The only thing I'm going to focus on is the detonator. Once we destroy the detonator, the mission's over. Our strategy for this mission is to reach Anders and Forge as fast as possible. To do this, we just need to clear out the nearby forces, pinning them down. I'll send one grizzly to the left side, and the other grizzly will camp on the right to handle Covenant units. I'll explain why later. We'll use the canister ability on large groups of Covenant forces to prevent them from blocking our path. As I move the grizzlies through the map, I'll ignore all Covenant units except for a turret and 2 hunters. I'll canister the turret to create space for the grizzly to move by. And then I get body blocked for some reason by these stupid grunts. Oh my gosh. Once the second hunter is down, we gain control of Forge and Anders. In the normal playthrough, you've head back the way you came. But doing that triggers a cutscene. That cutscene wastes time and forces us to walk to the right side anyways. Instead, we'll skip it entirely by walking to the right side first and starting the repairs. Once the repairs have finished, we'll cross the bridge. Now that grizzly from earlier has already cleared out all the Covenant units on the side, which will prevent Forge or Anders from dying. As long as Forge and Anders don't go down, we are good. We don't care how many units we lose, as long as Forge and Anders get to the end of the mission as fast as possible. Arcadia City is one of the 2 auto-scroller missions in the campaign. It is the longest mission in the game, and if you fail it, the run is over. This mission eats up 20 minutes of the challenge, which is about 1/6 of the total time we got to beat this challenge. The only real time save here is at the start of the mission. If you can clear out the Covenant fast enough, you can skip some dialogue by performing a dialogue overlap, which I'll explain later on the Dome of Light mission. Unfortunately, I don't get to skip this run. The main focus is keeping an eye on the planes. Losing both of them means a mission restart, which also means I lose 20 bucks. To maximize supplies and prevent the Covenant from building a second base, I built on both base locations. The best unit to spam on this mission is Hornets. They're cheap, fast, and get the job done. Not much else happens during this mission, so I get bored and decide to destroy the Covenant's base for fun. Once the 20 minutes are up, the mission is complete. Now there is one strategy I haven't talked about yet, but you'll see in action, skipping the end scene. It saves a few seconds on every mission. Here's how it works. You put your cursor on the bottom left corner of the screen, like I'm doing so, and spam left click. The moment the continue button becomes available, you'll already be clicking it, which loads the next mission faster. At the start of the mission, we're going to make a run for the crater and clear it out as fast as possible. Once it's cleared, I'll move my units to the mega turret's position. By setting it up here in advance, we can legit destroy the mega turret before it even becomes a problem. For this mission, the main unit I decided to build is the Vulture. They are the strongest individual unit the UNSC has access to, and honestly, it's just fun wrecking everything. With the mega turret out of the way, you might think we can bum rush the base, destroy it, and finish the mission, right? Well, Arcadia Outskirts is the other auto-scroller mission in the campaign. How is this an auto-scroller, you ask? Let me explain. Unlike Arcadia City, which had a hard visible timer, Arcadia Outskirts doesn't let you complete the mission until Spartan Team Omega arrives as reinforcements. Until then, you're stuck waiting. You might think, why not destroy the base at the start of the mission? Well, that'll actually cause a soft lock. You need to hit certain flags to progress the mission, clearing out the crater, destroying the Covenant's base, and finally, Team Omega's arrival. Now we know the flags for this mission. Are there any ways to save time? Yes, it all comes down to how fast you clear the crater. During the challenge, I thought you actually had to destroy the base after the Omega cutscene triggered. Even with that misunderstanding, I did my best to save time by leaving the Covenant's base at 1 HP. That way, as soon as the cutscene ended, I could finish it off with a single attack. With Arcadia City and Arcadia Outskirts eating up a whopping 40 minutes of my precious 2-hour time limit, the pressure is on. I've already burned through half my available time, and I'm only on mission 6. But hey, there's good news. We'll clear the 2 longest missions. From here on out, it's all about saving time and keeping things efficient. This mission, Dome of Light, it's one I'm super comfortable with. I've run this strategy so many times, it feels second nature to me. Here's how it goes. We start by building 2 supply pads, nothing more. All of our supplies are going straight into rhinos and the transport ability to zip them around the map. I'll make sure Forge is already stationed at the first rhino location. This way, the moment we buy the rhino, I can immediately transport it to the destination, instead of having it walk, drive, track along. Whatever it is, transporting it's way faster. Before the first rhino ever reaches a position, I'll have our army waiting at location 2. Why? Because the moment the first rhino is deployed, the Covenant buildings at location 2 will start constructing. That's our cue to wipe them out along with their turrets, while they're still vulnerable. With the area cleared, I'll transport the second rhino to location 2. Here's a cool time saving trick. As soon as we place the second rhino, we can immediately buy the third one to overlap the dialogue, and I missed it. Great, now I have to wait 30 seconds for the dialogue to finish playing. Oh well, we'll recover. When the trick is done correctly, it takes about 18 seconds after Rhino 2 is positioned at location 2 for location 3 to become available. While it normally takes about 40 seconds or so for location 3 to show up. Once the third rhino is ready, I'll transport it to location 3, where our army will already be stationed at location 4. We'll repeat the same process as we did for location 2. Destroy the under constructed Covenant buildings and clear the area for the 4th and 5th locations. Now for the grand finale, the Mac Blast minigame. Here's a trick. If you destroy the base fast enough and exit out of the menu, Serena will actually automatically start firing her Mac Blast without delay. It's a neat little time save to wrap up the mission in style. My strategy for this mission is simple. Spam as many scorpions as possible and prioritize unlocking the canister shell ability for that sweet extra damage. The main goal in this mission is to destroy 6 of the power nodes to slow the Scarab down enough. I don't bother with the 7 power nodes on this mission. It's heavily guarded and just not worth the time or effort. The other 6 nodes are conveniently close to each other and easy to take out. Once all 6 power nodes are destroyed, it's all about taking down the Scarab. I keep producing scorpions, using the canister ability for more damage, and firing the Mac Blast every time it's off cooldown to deal massive damage. Honestly, this mission was pretty straightforward. The steady flow of scorpions and the good rhythm portability usage, the Scarab didn't stand a chance. Looking back on this mission, I honestly wasted so much time. I think it's because I'm so used to playing on legendary difficulty where everything just beats my ass. But on easy, you're the one that's beating ass. At the time, my strategy was to build an army of marines to clear out the Covenant and have enough firepower to handle the flood. Once we push forward and Red Team joins the fight, I sent Red Team and Forge to the top side of the map while the marines took the bottom half. The plan was simple: secure both elephants simultaneously to save time in the long run. I didn't even bother building a base on this map. I already had everything I needed in terms of firepower. Instead, I saved up supplies until I hit 600 so I could drop a carpet bomb on the flood tower. This made it so much easier for my marines to clear out the flood and secure the elephant. With the flood cleared out, I grabbed both elephants around the same time and escorted them back as quickly as possible. This mission, the flood, has some pretty cool strategies. The plan starts with using the elephants, who are absolutely beefed up, and send them straight to the flood bases. At the same time, I'll build 2 Warhawks as quickly as possible and send them to Red Team to get the ball rolling. Once Red Team is rescued, the next step is to move them to take on more flood bases. If everything goes according to plan, the main flood base should be destroyed within a minute or so. Should being the key word here. Here's the catch. This strategy is pretty micro-intensive, and I'll be honest, I'm not exactly the best at macroing my units, so naturally some things went wrong along the way. But hey, that's all part of the challenge, right? Even with those hiccups, I was still able to beat this mission in about 2 minutes or so, which is still pretty fast. Shield World always makes me nervous, whether it's a challenge run or just casual play. This mission has always been a struggle for me, and I consider it the hardest mission in the campaign. Now, attempting a speedrun, that's a whole new level of unexplored territory. With only theories to guide me, and a lot on-the-fly improvising, I knew I had to buckle down and rely on my go-to strategy, Scorpions. Scorpions are the way to go for this mission. They're super effective, especially since Hornets are pretty much doo-doo against the Flood. My plan was to save Charlie first, then Bravo, and hopefully let Alpha fall while focus on the other 2 locations. Spoiler alert, unfortunately that didn't happen, so I ended up having to save Alpha as well. Yeah, pretty frustrating, not gonna lie. Once I had a decent number of Scorpions, I moved in to start clearing the Flood at Charlie. Thankfully, on easy difficulty, you don't need any fancy or cheap strategies to take out the Flood. You can just go all out, guns blazing. Once Charlie was cleared out, we got Red Team on board to help us out. With the extra firepower, we moved on to Bravo, and cleared it out was a breeze. But of course, nothing's ever that simple. By the time we wrapped up Bravo, Alpha's squad was still alive, which means, yep, you guessed it, had to go save them, wasting a few precious minutes. So, I sent my army over to Alpha, cleared it out, and then had to escort them back to the base. Escort mission's everyone's favorite, right? Once Alpha squad made it safely back to base, the mission was finally over. And with Shield World completed, the hardest mission in the campaign was beaten, and I managed to do it in a reasonable amount of time. That's a win in my book. Cleansing is a pretty straightforward mission. Clear all the Flood on the Spirit of Fire. All we need to do is spam horns, since they're cheap, fast, and perfect for hitting the Flood clinging to the side of the ship. But we gotta move fast on this one. There's a timer, and we have to clear out all the Flood before the first cleansing wave hits. I'll quickly pump out some hornets to do with the Flood on the side of the ship. It's not too hard to clear them out, but here's the catch. The Flood doesn't stay dead. After some time, they come back to life and start regaining health. As the first cycle wraps up, I got all the Flood cleared out, and I'm feeling good. This should be a quick and easy mission. Wait, what's that? No way! The Flood lived! Oh my gosh, it legit has 1 HP, you gotta be kidding me. This moment had me so tilted and salty. I knew right there and then that this was a run killer, and the worst part, it was such a small and stupid thing that I obviously could have avoided. But nope, now all I could do was sit there and wait, nothing to speed this up. Just me, my hornets, and my sorrow. I felt at this moment in the run that I wouldn't be able to beat Halo Wars in time. For Steam Refund, I almost just wanted to quit the challenge at this moment. With the last wave coming in, I made sure that the last single Flood was dead and not coming back alive. With that wave passing, we successfully cleared the Spirit of Fire of the Flood. This is the ultimate Ooga Booga mission of the campaign. The entire strategy, build Cyclops, move them to the core, and slash it with the repairs until it's fixed. Can I optimize this mission by making sure the core doesn't take a single hit, or by perfectly timing my heal and repair abilities? Sure. But why do all that when I could just go full Ooga Booga Cyclops repair mode? No fancy strats here, just a swarm of Cyclops rolling up, doing their thing, and smacking that core back to life. It's simple, it's chaotic, it's peak Ooga Booga energy. Sometimes you don't need to overthink it, and just let the Cyclops cook. Our game plan here is to play very aggressive and destroy the Covenant's bases as fast as we can. At the start, we are given 4 ODSTs and 1 flamethrower. Now, normally you're supposed to protect the rendezvous point so Anders can escape safely, but we got no time for that. Using these units along with Forge, we hit straight to destroy the first Covenant's base. Anders, meanwhile, waits patiently at the rendezvous boot until the Pelican arrives to pick her up. As long as her health doesn't hit 0, it's all good. By the time she's airborne, successfully taken out the base. During this, Red Team has joined the fight, and I immediately dispatched them to the second Covenant's base. I managed to hijack a Locust to help them with the assault, and send one of the Spartans to claim the Scarab. And here's where I made a horrible mistake. Instead of boarding the Scarab by pressing the R button, spamming right click, freaking out like why is it not working, game bug, game bug. Because of that, the Scarab took massive damage. I started to freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally threw the run. 2 hours approaching. There was no way I could afford a reset. So, I pushed forward. I sent the Scarab to deal with the 4th base, while Forge, 1 Spartan, the Locust, and the ODSTs tackled the 3rd base. I left the 3rd Spartan behind at the 2nd base, ready to claim it at the end. The bases fall simultaneously. I get myself ready to build all the bases. We just now need to hold all 4 bases, even just for 1 second. We managed to do so, and now let us to complete the mission. Have you ever heard of a song called Run Fat Boy Run? That is exactly what we're gonna do with our elephant. He is our fat boy who's gonna run off with the reactor. We need to get our elephant with the reactor to the top of the level to beat the mission. I built an elephant as soon as I could. While it was being constructed, I focused on destroying the 1st base. But one thing that drove me absolutely crazy was when the elephant grabbed the reactor, it just kept on spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. It was super frustrating and I could feel myself getting tilted. I was so close to finishing this challenge. When I got to the 2nd base, I tried to destroy it before the elephant arrived, but I quickly realized I didn't have nearly enough power to take it down. Luckily, I managed to reach just in time, with a few forces still alive. As the elephant climbed the hills, we eventually reached the 3rd base. Here, I made sure to move the elephant as far off to the side as possible, away from the Covenant's base, so they wouldn't attack it, while I had my other units tank the damage for the elephant. We made it to the end of the mission. I decided to take a small break and check the time. It was exactly 2 hours of game time. That moment, I knew I had failed the challenge of beating Halowurst. And under 2 hours, I was filled with dread and defeat. I was so close. I could have refunded the game and got my $20 back and walk away in defeat. But then, I realized how close I was. I couldn't just throw in the towel. With a spark of courage and determination, I told myself, I may lose the challenge. I may lose my $20, but I'm not giving up. This mission is, without a doubt, one of the most complicated strategies in the game, at least for me. I'll do my best to explain everything that's going on here. The goal is to open all 6 doors. The fastest way to do that is by using the Pelican to transport our units to each door. We'll tackle them in order, starting with the hardest pair to open and working our way to the easiest. First, I send our 2 Spartans to the left gate near the Covenant's base. Why? Because as the mission progresses, the Covenant forces will grow stronger, and there will be way more of them to deal with. Meanwhile, I'll send 1 Spartan and the ODST to the other gate on the right side. Once both gates are open, they are no longer a concern for the rest of the mission. Next, I transport 2 Spartans from the left side to the top of the circle. Luckily, the other side of this gate is near our base, so it's already cleared out. This area is crawling with flood, so I'll use some leader powers to help thin them out. Then, disaster. I wasn't paying enough attention, and one of my Spartan dies. Yeah, that wasn't really part of the plan. At this point, I have to adjust on the fly, sending the Spartans from the top area down to provide backup. With the top gate open, my next priority now becomes the last 2 gates. Luckily, my Warhogs were able to move the Covenant far enough from the gate to allow it to be open. And with the last 2 gates open, and just like that, we've beaten Halo Wars. As soon as the mission screen pop up, I Alt F4 out of the game as fast as possible. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Decided to give it a shot and request the refund anyways, hoping Steam might overlook those extra 10 minutes. To my absolute shock, they actually refunded me the game? I hadn't finished the game within 2 hours, but I still got the refund. And that's all that mattered. Thanks for watching, and this is MagicalGarrn, signing off.